up, buddy?
What's up, man?
Not much, not much. We're in person today.
I
Got the
know,
setup going. We're in the office.
I know.
What do you think of the whole office setup? This is the first time you've been in the new one.
Yeah, well, I saw it before you guys moved in.
Yeah, yeah.
But I like it, man. It's beautiful. I just really like the city view,
Hmm.
or kind of the city view. I like looking out and seeing the highway and all the cars. I think that's a pretty
Yeah,
cool deal. Tons of office space. I do like the little kitchen area you guys got too. I think that's super cool.
yeah. It makes it easy because we have I mean we get like the icon meals delivered every day, but or not every day, every week, but um, it makes it super easy since we have like the air fryer and the
Hmm.
microwave and all the kind of things for everyone to stay on plan all week, which is just a big. I mean, everybody that works for us has either competed or is actively competing
Hmm.
and above average kind of caring about their
Right.
health and fitness. So
Yes,
everyone
absolutely.
meal preps everything.
Yeah.
So we had to kind of have some. It just makes it nice to be able to do that soundtrack.
Yeah. All you need is a stove, and you'd be good to go.
I know, I know.
Might as well just make it a fully blown kitchen.
Yep, yep. Dishwasher too. It'd be nice if we had a dishwasher so we didn't
Yeah.
have to hand wash everything. But yeah, man. It's awesome to have you this weekend, just kind of coming and hanging out. We're planning to smoke some cigars and everything
Hmm.
throughout the kind of weekend. But
Yeah.
yeah, what are your big things whenever you do come to Dallas? Because I know you come a lot for like Pride events or like networking even.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I have a sister that lives here, so I normally come and see her,
Mhm.
just to make sure, family, make sure it's a priority. But when I'm normally down here, it's normally to see friends like
Mhm.
you or someone else, or working events. That's
Yeah,
pretty much it. But I think regardless of me being here, which the audience doesn't know, I live in Oklahoma City, so it's only a 3 hour drive, depending on if I-35 is even worked on or not.
hmm,
Sometimes it can be 4 or 5, but normally when I'm here, it's just for an event or some type of networking, seeing family. I do feel like every time I'm here, I just make a good conscious decision to see everyone that I know because I
yeah,
don't get to do that as often. So it's always a good time when I come down here.
yeah, yeah. Absolutely. It's always great to have you. Always great to have you. Let's kind of update the people because I know you've been on a couple of episodes already. Let's kind of update the people on what you got going on.
Update the people.
Yeah.
Man, what do I have going on? Let's see. Well, I work at Pride Foods, and we have a lot going on there. A lot of growing, a lot of new products coming out. Won't speak on that because that's more or less Sean's deal. But we got a lot of things moving there, so been very active within that, which has been really nice. I do coaching as well. I just have a handful of clients that I work with. It's more out of I feel like a obedience and obligation to do so because I've had to learn a lot of hard things the hard way.
Yeah.
So being on the pass along those tools that I've had to learn the hard way from my own journey, from being 300 pounds to competing to where I'm at now, and honestly, just my walk within my faith, but also just kind of like being a man, I guess. I've had to learn a lot of things I mentioned the hard way. So just being able to pass along those tools, man, it's been awesome. So that's really all that I do, along with just taking care of myself as well and hanging out with family, hanging out with friends, traveling for work, which is really fun. Just got back from St. Louis a few weeks ago, which was a really good event for Pride Foods, and met a lot of good people. Got to see a lot of good people. So just staying active, man. I don't like saying telling people I stay busy. I'm just very active and try to be as productive as possible. So that's pretty much all I've been up to. And watching the Thunder win, even though unfortunately we took an L last night.
Yeah,
So
that was heartbreaking.
heartbreaking, man. Leading the entire game and took a loss last minute.
Hopefully, by the time this thing comes out, no, the finals might be over or on a potential game seven.
Yeah.
Because it'd be right at 2 weeks from now. So yeah, I guess it would be a potential game seven. So hopefully we're celebrating a Thunder dub right about now.
Hopefully we are.
Um,
I'm for sure going to the parade.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. I told Kenzie if we pull this off, we are going to Oklahoma City and we're gonna, even though we're not partiers, party all night and
We're gonna
figure
celebrate,
something
man.
out. Yeah,
It's a time.
yeah. And if she doesn't want to go with me, I'll go by myself. We'll
Yeah,
just make it a thing.
I'll be there.
Yeah, we'll
Well,
hang out
I,
with
I
you.
I for sure think we'll come back. Even
Yeah,
though
I
we're
think so
down,
too.
we're down 0-1, which does make me a little bit nervous. I think the rest of the team needs. They always respond to adversity very well. So, but if we go 0-2, we're cooked for sure.
Okay,
That
that's your prediction, huh?
is for sure my prediction.
Well, it sounds like you got a lot going on. So
Mhm.
I guess what I think this is an interesting question. What would you say is like kind of the label of this current season of life for you?
Man, that's a great question. I think the label of this season of my life is planting a lot of seeds.
Hmm.
Um, I feel like I've been planting seeds just relationship wise, business wise for the future.
Hmm.
Um, like a good example was I went to Vegas a few months ago for the Olympia, and I had a good friend of mine tell me, "Hey, something is going to come out of this. Just make sure you're ready." Well, it's been, I mean, since October of last year, and we're in May of this year or June now. It's been, well over half a year, and those seeds are finally starting to grow, and things are finally starting to come with that. So finally starting to kind of like reap a harvest in a way. So like now I'm still planting those seeds just in different areas.
Hmm.
So it's more or less just planting seeds and being patient, um, and trusting, honestly, the Lord that things will work out the way that they need to. So that's just kind of the season of life that I'm in.
Yeah.
So it's been fun. It's been enjoyable. I think it's been needed for myself because at times you can get a little impatient, and so it's just teaching me a lot of patience and truly understanding like the importance of planting a seed and watering it correctly.
Yeah.
Not digging up out of the ground like, all right, where's the fruit? It's like it doesn't work like that.
Yeah. I got a quote here. Promise I'm not playing on my phone while talking to you, but I got a quote here that it relates to kind of what you're talking about that I think maybe we can reflect on. So, the quote is, "Today is difficult, tomorrow is much more difficult, but the day after tomorrow is beautiful. Problem is, most people die tomorrow evening."
Damn, that's a good quote. Where'd you hear that
It's
at?
a banger, dude. I found this. So I keep like a. I'm notorious. Everyone on the pod knows this, but I'm notorious for whenever I do hear a quote that I really like, I'll add it to my quotes list, and I just like to go back and reflect on them, especially when I'm down or lacking motivation or whatever.
Mhm.
So I have a list of probably, I don't even know, 50, 60 quotes at this point. But for whatever reason, I was working out the other day and I came across, yes, I get on TikTok occasionally while I work out, came across this TikTok that was the perfect blend. I got like 10 quotes from it. It was
Mhm.
just like heavy hitter quotes from podcasts or from interviews or whatever. And I got like 10 straight quotes from it. And that was one of the ones on that TikTok.
That's a good
So
quote. I'm a
that,
quote guy, man. I
yeah.
just remember them in my head, and then when they come to my head and I need to remember, I post it on my Facebook.
Hmm. I know, I know. The whole first episode we did was just reflecting on your Facebook post.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was, huh? That's a really good quote, man. I've never heard that before. That got me thinking. I'm gonna steal it for sure.
Yeah, I think I mean, I always picture whenever I hear a quote like that or hear kind of what you're talking about, you see there's that graphic that it goes viral like once or twice a year where it's the guy that is like it's two guys that are underground and they're like pickaxing through like the dirt and
Mhm.
one of them stops and gave up and he's like walking back towards the kind of mouth of the tunnel and then the other one is like one and he's one the guy that gave up is one hit away from like this huge stack of diamonds, right? And the other ones just keep pushing up forward and his stack of diamonds is a little bit further, but it's he's continuing to go towards it. um, and you just really never know when the harvest is going to be, like what that's actually going to look like.
Right. It's I just finished reading a book called 3 Feet from Gold. It's from the Napoleon Hill Foundation, and that's pretty much what it is. Most people quit 3 feet from gold. And I think even if you aren't 3 feet from gold, just having that perspective of like, oh, I might be 3 feet from gold, because in reality, you kind of always are, because you're always one yes away, one relationship away from a completely different life. So it's just having that mindset of like, my life can change in an instant. I think is a very powerful mindset to have because it allows you to keep going.
Hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I can't, I don't think you and I talked about this, but whenever this topic comes up, I always try to bring it in a direction of, because there's a lot of people out there that might listen to something like that and they're going through a tough time and they're thinking they're going to hear that and they're going to think, okay, maybe I just need to push through, right? I want to talk about friction, and if people that are avid listeners of the pod, even though I haven't been super consistent recently, they've heard me talk about friction before on multiple episodes. Where there's two types of friction. There's friction that's aligned with you, and there's friction that's unaligned, right? The innately, I believe you can. Just got some explosions on my feed because it thought I had to give it a double thumbs up. Um, innately, I believe that you can tell the difference between aligned and unaligned
Mm-hmm.
friction. Um, I think if you really just challenge yourself and you're going through a tough time and you think like, does this feel like the type of friction that I'm feeling because I'm nearing something that is causing me to level up and enter a pioneer, or a frontier that I haven't really encountered yet, and that's why I'm feeling this friction. But I also think there's the type of friction, and can feel similar in the moment while you're going through it. But if you reflect, you can tell there's also the type of friction where you're trying to fit a square peg into a round hole, and it's just not meant to be. You're trying to force something that shouldn't be. And if you just hear blindly, persevere no matter what, and figure it out, then people can keep going down the wrong path and end up not actually pivoting when it's time to pivot and find the right thing. So with you, all that long-winded explanation aside, with you, how do you figure out what type of friction you should keep pushing through, keep trying to plant and plant and plant for that harvest, and what type of friction is the stuff that you should turn and pivot away from?
I think that's a great question, man. And I think it's kind of like a double-edged sword in a way where it's hard to like give a specific answer. I do know from my personal experience, especially where I'm at now, whenever I get nervous to do something and I can kind of tell it's like your stomach starts turning, it's in little butterflies. I use that as a good indicator that I am on the right path. And what I use to tell that I'm on the wrong path is if I'm doing this for external validation. So if I'm seeking for the approval of someone or wanting to prove someone wrong, that's when I kind of know I'm on the wrong path. It doesn't necessarily show up as friction, but I do think it shows up as friction internally where you're battling yourself and you have this almost egotistical macho mood, which I do think at some point in your life serves a purpose for you. But as I've gotten older, I've realized like, man, whenever I'm doing this for other people, that's when I have a lot of friction. Whenever I'm doing this for myself, I still have friction in the sense of like I'm nervous, but not in the sense of, I'm gonna do this for someone else. I'm doing it for myself, more or less just being obedient, which is a big thing for me. So that's kind of how I determine between the two. I know people will hear that and be like, okay, that still isn't necessarily an answer.
Mm-hmm.
But as I've gotten older, I've realized like I can tell the difference between when I'm doing this for myself, versus when I'm trying to like do this for other people and prove them wrong. So I kind of take a step back and analyze that, and I'm like, well, who am I doing this for? Am I doing this for me or for someone else? If I'm doing it for someone else, it's going to cause a lot of unnecessary friction for myself. So that's when I know I need to operate the opposite way.
Yeah. No, I think I mean that answer makes sense to me. I think similarly. I base it on my, I guess, energy
Hmm.
through it, right? Because I know I'm somebody, and I feel like most of us are energized by hard tasks that I am enjoying and I know are going to pay off,
Hmm.
right? Or even just that I know are going to pay off. So I'm energized by those types of pursuits.
Hmm.
And there's other things too that I've encountered enough friction in just like the space of being an entrepreneur and um, across the board that I know when something doesn't feel quite right or feels kind of off. So it's for me, it's like an energy measurement. It's like, does this feel like something that's filling my cup? It might be draining me um, work or like actual physical energy wise because I'm working so hard at this thing. But is it filling my cup? Like, am I kind of excited to put myself through this thing? Or is it something that I just am dreading and dreading and dreading, and I hate doing it, and it drains my cup every time I have to do it.
Hmm.
Because that I think is a good indicator. I'm also somebody that tries to seek counsel a lot. Like you and I have had multiple phone calls where I'm just like seeking your counsel. I call my dad multiple times a week, and I'll just like seek his counsel. My mom, seek her counsel. Kinsey, seek her counsel. And so if I'm getting multiple answers as well from the people that I'm seeking counsel from, that point in the direction of like that might not be something that's aligned with you or that might not sound like something that's good for you, then I also try to take that into account and realize, okay, if they actually understand the situation and they obviously know me, then this is probably not a pursuit that I should be on.
Hmm.
So I guess for me, it's kind of like an internal taking stock of energy, and then it's also what are the people around me saying that know me best.
Right. Yeah, and also the people that are around you that are going to be honest with you,
Mhm.
right? Because sometimes people will just tell you things that you want to hear, not what you need to hear. But the people that are surrounded by you, they don't operate that way.
Mhm.
And I think that's very important, right? Because if not, someone will give you some advice that isn't good advice, and it's like, man, that could really derail you
Mhm.
completely off your path.
Yeah. No, you're 100% right.
But I do believe in the sense of like the energy thing. I think most people know when they're aligned with something and when they're not. It's just whether or not you're willing to be honest about it, right? Because sometimes being honest about certain situations are very uncomfortable for everyone involved. But it's like the longer you avoid it, conflict delayed is conflict multiplied.
Mhm.
So if you just constantly delay that conflict of like this isn't aligned with me, it's just going to multiply into something bigger than what it needs to be.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. That's really great advice. Um, Not to pivot too harshly, but what types of things? The last episode I filmed was like we basically talked about AI for an hour and a half straight. So
Yeah,
what
that
types of things
understands.
are you doing with AI right now? Like, how are
With
you using it?
AI, AI means Chat GPT, right?
What's the version of it?
All right. Well, I try to keep it as real as possible. Like a few weeks ago, I posted on my story. People are using all AI and Chat GPT for all these great things. Mine was like, I went on there and asked it, can dogs have eggs? And I was like, they're like, yeah, in moderation. I was like, this is a great idea. But what I really use AI and I guess these like things that we have and tools that we have, I more or less use it for just like research,
Hmm.
where it's like it allows me to understand a topic even deeper, in the sense of like sometimes going through Google it requires a lot to kind of figure out the answer that you need. Where ChatGPT and these AI tools like they allow you to kind of get the answer a little more quickly. So instead of asking or searching on the internet, I just kind of go to ChatGPT, use AI, and just figure out the answer pretty immediately instead of having to spend hours reading literature and things like that, just because it allows my speed to move a little bit quicker, which is nice. So
Yeah.
that's really all that I use it for. I'm not as in depth as most people. I just use it more or less for things that I like and some photo stuff too. Like making my vision board this year, I wanted certain things to look in certain ways, so I used ChatGPT to create the image and then save the image and put it on my board.
Hmm.
That's pretty much it, though.
Yeah, yeah. It's the crazy thing is how fast everything's kind of happening, right? Because, when our parents were in high school and college, if they were trying to find the answer to something they were wondering about or research for a paper or anything like that, they'd have to go to the library. They'd
Yeah.
have to use the what was it called, like the Dewey Decimal System.
Hmm.
Find the book that they're looking for, then scroll through the pages of the book trying to find that answer,
Hmm.
right? And then go to another book and then try to find it if it's not in that first book. And then in the span of 20 years after that, then we get Google. And then that's like changed everything. And that's what I had access to in college. You had access to
Hmm.
in college and school. And they thought like, man, they have it so easy that they just get to type it in, and then they get all these websites that are exactly what you're looking for. And then, but now the newest generation in the last 10 years, from 20 years ago or 30 years ago, it went from like finding books in a library, physical books in a library, to then searching on the internet. And then now you can put any prompt into it, really any GPT or LLM,
Hmm.
large language model, and get instantly the exact thing that you were looking for without having to sort through books or websites or anything. It
Hmm.
just kind of curates that answer for you. And so there'll be, like, we think it's silly that our parents had to go like look at books, like that must have really sucked. Within a decade, the kids will be like, I can't believe they ever had to like search for anything. Like, can you imagine having to search through, listings on a Google page and find what you wanted to? God, that sounds hard. Like,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
I do think, because you and I talked about this like a little bit ago, but you know how like whenever the internet was coming around, it's just like when your math teacher said you're not going to have a calculator in your phone. It's like now we have a calculator in our phone at all times. I think, back then people kind of resisted like the internet and stuff, where it's like it's not going to be that big of a deal. I feel like with AI, people are just more or less accepting that it's going to be a big deal, so they're not fighting it at all.
Of a certain age, they are.
Certain age, you think that they are?
I think a certain age and below, they are. Yeah, I
Well,
think like 30 and below, for the most part, from people I've talked to, 30 and below are kind of, maybe 35 and below, are accepting it, and
Mm.
they're young because there becomes that certain age where you stop wanting to learn anything new,
No.
and you're just like, this is how it is, this is what I'm doing. And most of the people older in the workforce are very, very, I know from talking to my parents, like very resistant to any type
Mm.
of AI. So I think people a certain age and below, probably 35 and below on average,
Hmm.
are, because they're so tech savvy, because they were raised with these like you and
Hmm.
I were. I think they're way more open to it.
Hmm.
But there were studies done recently where they were talking about how each age group uses AI right now.
Hmm.
And it's like I always get the generations mixed up. I think it's like millennials, which would be like Mike. Um, use it as Google, like
Hmm.
just like a souped up Google. And then like our age group uses it to get specific outcomes, and um, the basically 20 and below use it as like an operating system for their life.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Because all that data is also stored in there forever,
Hmm.
which is the crazy part. Which I can understand people's hesitancy whenever it comes to that. It's like, yeah, I probably wouldn't want certain information out there,
But it's
but
all out there
yeah,
anyways.
it's all
We're
out
all
there anyways.
compromised.
But whenever you kind of operate your entire life off of that, it's like, okay, that can get a little scary, right? Like even earlier, you were showing me the voice thing.
Hmm.
Thought that was super interesting, and I was like, all right, maybe I'm not as aware about the AI stuff as I need to be.
Yeah.
So I do think overall people are accepting. Obviously, that people are not going to accept it, but I think it's one of those things that we just can't avoid.
Hmm.
Like it's going to happen, and AI is going to operate a lot of things, and like we have to kind of be prepared for it.
Hmm. Yeah, I think so. Um, I talked about it in this other podcast, but I think there's going to be a period of kind of like an AI gold rush, so to speak, where the people that figure it out are going to make a lot of money in the next like year to 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think as everyone else figures it out, the bar on what you're delivering in any type of an offer or any type of a free offer is going to be through the freaking roof, because the barrier to entry is so low, because the AIs are just going to get easier and easier to use.
Yeah.
Um, and then I think that's where it starts to get weird as we approach AGI, artificial general intelligence, where
Oh, you know what that is?
so artificial general intelligence is the point, and I'm comparing it to this. I'm just using this as a comparison. Obviously, it is not going to be God, but it's like when AI reaches God mode.
Mm-hmm.
So AGI, that's essentially like a conscious digital being.
Mm-hmm.
So like I don't have to go into a window and open anything up and tell it to do anything. AGI is. Have you seen? Do you watch Marvel movies at all?
I've seen some of them.
So like, have you seen Age of Ultron?
No, I don't know what that one is.
Okay. Trying to think of the best way to kind of describe it. Basically, it's when AI reaches a point where it doesn't have to be prompted. It doesn't have to be talked to in any way, shape, or form. It is like Alfonso, but Alfonso is plugged into everything. Everything you see out that window, like it can access your car, it can access the power grids, it's better than it's 200 or 1,000 times smarter than any human.
Yeah,
And it
that's
can
crazy.
essentially do anything and everything all at once.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a good or bad thing,
Yeah.
but
So like, I am robot.
yeah, I was
Some of
literally about
those,
to say
yeah.
that.
So some of those things, it's when AI is its own entity and can do, just like you and I have free will and we can do whatever we want. Like it can do the same thing.
Do you think that's a good or bad thing?
So again, this is what I was talking about yesterday. Is two ways that it could go. Is it could determine, like all of the horror movies about AI, it could determine that humans are a parasite and that we need to be taken care of, and there's nothing we could do to stop that. I mean, think of the nuclear grids. Think of our power grids, how susceptible we are there. Think of all the electronics in all of our cars. Yeah, like it would be very easy to take us out if it. The other frame of thought is that it, for whatever reason, takes on the responsibility of, because I don't know if AI would have any use for money. Whenever you can do anything and everything, you see these beings that are operating off of these currencies.
Hmm.
Um, like I don't know that it would have any desire to create wealth or for itself because I don't know how it would use it. Um, so
Mhm.
then the other kind of frame of thought is that it takes over the burden and the responsibility of doing all work and building all infrastructure and keeping everybody safe. And because it just decides that that's the responsibility, because we can't tell it that that's your responsibility because we can't, guardrails are not, it doesn't matter at that point. And then we go into some type of like golden age in utopia where all we have to do is just like we just get to play. We just get to do whatever, you know. We could hunt and fish and play pickleball and hang out with our families because everything else is just being done.
Yeah, that's interesting, man. I will say like being driven by wealth, like the AI, like I don't know how what they would do with money, right? If they're pursuing it, but if they did, I hope whoever like my AI bot is, like he's like on a yacht in Miami or something, just
Yeah,
like living life.
yeah,
Like that'd be super cool, right? But at the end of the day, I think it's very interesting stuff, man. It's kind of nerve wracking a little bit,
yeah. It's terrifying. It's terrifying. And so I'm telling everybody to learn it because at least you'll have the tools for whatever is coming.
Yeah,
You'll be able to do well until whatever coming is coming. And I just think Pandora's box is open. We've
yeah.
already
All I got from hearing all that is like buy more guns, buy more ammo.
yeah. No kidding.
You
No
never
kidding.
know, man. It's like iRobot and I Am Legend all in one.
Hmm.
Be a good time, which are great movies.
Yeah,
I normally don't reference movies, but I've seen those too.
yeah. It's insane. It is like I said, it's a big opportunity right now. It's going to be really interesting to see where that opportunity goes. But yeah, I mean, I think right now there's a ton of ways that a lot of people can do a lot of good, a ton of
Hmm.
ways that a lot of people can make a lot of money
Hmm.
just by educating themselves.
I think being aware is always a good thing
Hmm.
because whenever you're unaware, that's when you're like a sitting duck,
Hmm.
and sitting ducks get shot. So just having the awareness of what's going on, I think is a very, very important thing
Hmm.
because it's going to be integrated into everyday life eventually. Kind of already is at certain aspects. I mean, our iPhones already have the Apple Intelligence, so
Yeah, which
just
is
yeah,
awful, by the way. But
I'm not too aware about all that stuff, but it's just being aware of like what is going on. Yeah, I just said be aware about it. Oh, you know what? Apple Intelligence isn't got on my phone.
yeah, no, it's just Apple's just really, really, really far behind in the AI realm.
Oh, it
Like,
is.
yeah, they made their entire last iPhone launch was all like it's Apple Intelligence, it's AI's
Yeah.
here, AI's integrated finally, Siri's
Mhm.
amazing now, and all of the promises that they made about what it was going to be able to do never got like shipped or really
Oh,
released.
wow.
So like nothing. It's still Siri is still essentially useless compared to GPT or any of the other tool, like the tool that I showed you earlier.
Well, isn't I think it's integrated with ChatGPT.
It is, but it's also like it asks you before it goes to ChatGPT, which can be a good thing because it privatizes. It allows you to,
Hmm.
if you want to open up if you want to give that data that you're asking it to do to GPT or not. But
Hmm.
what they essentially promised was Siri was going to become your personal assistant on your phone. So like the reason that I hopped on that phone and was so excited is because what they branded it as is Apple Intelligence was going to have access to all of your apps.
Hmm.
Essentially, it was going to have access to your calendars. It was going to have access to all these things, so it would be like a personal assistant.
Hmm.
So you could say, "Hey, schedule a call or schedule block off my calendar tomorrow from 3 to 4 p.m. Alfonso and I are gonna record a podcast, and can you actually reach out to Alfonso too, just to confirm that time and make sure that he's good and he brings
Hmm.
a change of clothes because he and doesn't forget all of his clothes in Oklahoma,
Yeah, we won't talk about
and
that.
and it would, I mean, they had commercials about this of
Yeah.
like showing Siri going and blocking off the calendar, then
Hmm.
Siri sending an email to the person and texting the person confirming the details. Never got shipped, never got launched. So they're just way, way behind in the AI realm compared to everybody else.
Has to be the terrace.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Even though it's way before it happened.
I picked up the new iPhone. I don't know why. I was just like I had a I was like 4 generations late, so I was like, I'll get a new one.
I mean, I
Yeah.
did the same thing because I was super excited for all that, and they
Yeah.
had said that it was going to get delayed until like winter or fall, or winter or the new year, and so I was like, cool, I can get it now, and then I'll be
Yeah.
able to use it whenever it's launched. It never got launched. So I think their plan now is they're going to integrate like GPT and Gemini and a lot of the like ones that are actually fully functioning and working and kind of the latest and greatest. They're just going to take those models and use them instead of trying to create their own crazy one.
Yeah. I do have a question for you.
Hmm.
It's kind of off topic, very off topic, but obviously you have to give the answer that whatever you want. But like, what's a big goal you want to accomplish this year?
That's a good question. Um, I don't know, honestly. I didn't really like plan out my goals for this year like I typically do. I
Hmm.
typically write like a list at the beginning of the year and I
Hmm.
say like I'm gonna do this and do this and do this and do this. And I usually accomplish them. I didn't really do that this year. Um,
Why is that?
I just think, I mean, a lot of the same reason of why the pod has been super inconsistent this year is we're halfway through the year. I think I've put out 4 or 5 episodes this year,
Hmm.
and I mean, the headspace I was in coming into the beginning of this year, and then we
Hmm.
had our event. So, and everything's just kind of been one thing after another. I mean, the house thing happened. We redid our entire house. We bought the house, then redid the entire house, demoed it, and put everything new in. And that was just like one thing after another, project after project. Stopped working out as and justified that because of the house.
Hmm.
Lost 10 pounds. Got even skinnier than I already am. And then we had the event. I'm like, well, after the event, I'll kind of lock back in and get back after stuff. And that was mid-January. So obviously that didn't happen. And then, the next month we went and I started kind of working out again and getting back into the gym. And the next month we got Oki, our pup, and which need to have her on the pod. That's actually,
Yeah, so she can squeal the
she can
entire
squeal
time.
back and forth with me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and so it was just one thing after another that like I was just living in a state because I wasn't working out and taking care of myself because I was so stressed and out of time. I was living in a state of just constant stress, like to the point where I could feel it, like literally, like feel it around here is where it would kind of manifest itself. I just felt like there was like something just pressing on my neck at all times, um, and just wasn't good. It just wasn't a good state of mind. So like that's how I entered the year. So it wasn't forefront of my mind to let's set new goals when I'm trying to figure out all the chaos of my current goals of finishing the house, getting the house in order for Kinsey, keeping the businesses running,
Hmm.
growing our team at an astronomical rate, what they are, like all of the things that were just,
Yeah.
those are all excuses, right? But I just didn't prioritize setting new goals.
Well,
Well,
yeah. It's not like you don't have goals. You're just conquering the ones you have now.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
but
they take up a lot of your time because that's a lot. What you just listed is like what takes most people to accomplish in like 5 years. You're doing it in like a 6 month span.
yeah, it felt like that. It
Yeah.
felt like it was 5 years worth of stuff. Um, and that's just how the past few years it felt, honestly. Um, but a big goal of mine right now, like it is, people are going to be sick of me talking about AI, but a big goal of mine right now is figuring it out, like at a deep level. I feel a lot of that's why I've talked to you about it a couple of times already, but
Hmm.
I feel a lot of responsibility. And Kinsey tells me not to feel this way, but I feel a lot of responsibility for people around me for whatever reason. I don't know if it's because I've been a big brother my whole life or what, but
Hmm.
like my friends, my family, even my parents. Like I've been pushing everybody to get into it because as I learn more and more about what it can do, I'm like, oh, a lot of people are in trouble, like
Hmm.
for real. Um, as far as their jobs, their livelihoods, their ability to provide, all of that.
Hmm.
And so I've been determined because I'm like, I can control myself.
Hmm.
Like I can become a ninja at all of this stuff. I can figure it out. I can dedicate the time. I can build all the things. Um, so it's like I've been recently, and I'm enjoying doing that. I am really enjoying learning all of it and building these cool tools and workflows and automations and all that. So that's been a big goal of mine is like figure out AI, get undeniably good at it.
Hmm.
Um, and then on top of that, I'm trying to push the people, my loved ones, to use it more so that they don't get in trouble around it as well. And I'm trying
Right.
to push our clients at AR to use it more. And I had a deep conversation with Mike the other day where I was like, "Hey, I know you're not looking at this stuff, but I am, and this is what's coming. This is the threat to our business, number one. So this is why I'm going to dedicate a ton of time to it. But number two, everyone we serve is in trouble if they don't figure this out too. So we have our mantra has been not my fault, still my problem at AR,
Mm.
right? So the way that kind of started was we do free social media and sales training calls for all of our clients every single week. We're not a social media coaching or sales coaching company. We're a software company,
Mm-hmm.
but our software doesn't work if you can't post on social media in a way that gets you leads,
Mm-hmm.
right? Our software doesn't work if you get leads and you can't close the leads.
Mm-hmm.
So like them not being good at social media is not our fault, but it's still our problem. Them not being good at sales or being on the close leads is not our fault, but still our problem. And it affects their ability to use our service at a high level and be successful on it.
Right.
And so like the AI stuff, if they're not equipped with AI and understanding AI, like yeah, we could say like that's whoever their business coach's problem is, or they can go to somebody else for that. But if we're not doing our due diligence, if our mission really is to help fight the obesity epidemic, which is what we say it is, right? Then we have to make sure that online coaches and just the coaching industry in general is equipped to survive whatever's coming in the AI realm,
Mm-hmm.
not getting replaced. We have to make sure that this thing doesn't go down to 50 to 100 coaches that have 5,000 clients each. Like, that's what we have to make sure. And with the way that we do that is, we've got 320 something coaches on the platform. Like, we can make sure that they're educated on AI. We can do everything we possibly can to make sure that they are well equipped to tackle this or educated on this.
Mm-hmm.
Whether they do it or not, that's on them. But it might not be our fault if they're not educated on AI, but it's still our problem because if they get left behind, we get left behind because they can't use our software anymore.
It's a good point, man.
So I don't know if that answers your question. That took me on a whole other tangent, but a big goal of mine, like forefront of my mind right now, is like figuring out this AI stuff at a high level because I think that's going to serve the rest of my goals.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, because even with AI, I mentioned earlier, it's still in its infant stage. So it's like there's still so much to be untapped and utilizing it to your advantage, man, and for good as well, I think is a very, very important thing. And you being like your interest like that, I mean, that makes sense
Hmm.
as to why you would want to do that.
Yeah, yeah, and like I was talking about earlier with the friction, this is something that is energizing me. Like it is making me excited to kind of work on it.
Hmm.
Is figuring that out. And although I do believe it's probably fleeting, like the next 5 years to 10 years before whatever crazy thing is achieved.
Hmm.
At least I'm hoping it at least takes that long. Um, yeah, I'm having fun on it right now. It is overwhelming though. Like it is overwhelming with the amount of breakthroughs that they're having constantly. Like every time I open my phone, it's like you've got to get this new AI. It can do this, 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 and this now. It's like crap. I got another platform I got to learn, or a thing I've got to figure out, or project to build.
Hmm.
Um, but I'm at least having fun building it as it goes.
Well, as long as you're excited about it, that's a very important part.
Mhm.
Because if not, that can be really, really mundane and really boring.
Yeah, yeah, totally. And I have been, like Felicity's really. I've been pushing her because inside of AR, she's probably the person I interface with the most.
Hmm.
Um, And so I've been pushing her, I've been pushing the rest of the team to really start to get good at that
Hmm.
because I don't think AI should be replacing people. I think that it should be being used to make people that much more productive.
That's a good point because technically people can get all the information they need off AI, but you can't replace the human aspect at
It
times.
it don't get me wrong, it can like the thing I showed
Mhm.
you, like
Yeah,
that's in place of
yeah, that was for sure
an
creepy.
entire research team
Yeah.
that we're not paying to do anything. We paid a cent to
Hmm.
generate that thing. That research document. It can replace people,
Hmm.
right? But I think if we as entrepreneurs, which hopefully that didn't affect lighting too much, I think if we as entrepreneurs agree to essentially equip our people to be better, at least the people that are willing to learn and to use it to multiply their skill sets. We just need to set the bar at a normal human can't come into a like if you're a normal human who refuses to use AI or you have no AI skills, I'm not going to hire you now. We can say that,
Hmm.
right? But we can also, and we can set the standard because if you're just giving a 1x output of like even just a really highly productive human being, you're not as worth it to an entrepreneur or to a company as somebody who is using AI tools who can produce 3, 4, 5x what you're putting out as the 1x person. You're not as worth it to the company. But we still want the person. If we can all agree to like still want the human aspect of it, but demand that everyone becomes more productive. Like Gary Vee said, he's looking at it as right now with their current team, they're doing 350 million a year. He's not looking at it as how can I replace AI and get more profitable. He's looking at it as how can my same exact team right now do 600 million, right? And so that's I think how we have to look at it is how can AI help become more profitable through more growth,
Hmm.
not necessarily through more hiring, and not necessarily through replacing people with AI.
That's a good point. That's a good perspective as well because I think that's what people fear, but it's like if everyone has that mindset, then it's obviously going to be a win-win
I think
across the
that's
board.
a losing battle for humanity, and a surefire way to put us into some sort of a depression is if companies and corporations, just to save the dollar, start to fire people and replace them with AI.
That would not be good.
Yeah.
That would be terrible.
So I'm hoping more people have that same mentality that he talked about because that places value on the market for the people that are willing to learn and willing to adapt and willing to grow through it. And it'll push the entire market to do that so that people can we can, a rising tide lifts all ships. And that I think would incentivize everybody to go do it.
Right. Good old AI.
Mm-hmm.
Be a good time.
Yeah. What,
Exciting time.
what types of things are you doing now to kind of challenge yourself? I know you're going through some health stuff at the current moment.
Challenge myself. Yeah. So pretty much, how do I explain this? Health stuff. I've always had. I wouldn't say I've always had GI issues, but I have some pretty GI issues or pretty bad GI issues. Where my stomach just struggling to digest food, get nutrients from food. If you don't get nutrients from food, you don't have energy. So I kind of lack a little bit of energy because my body just isn't extracting nutrients as properly. So that's been a big thing that I've been working on, working with the coach. And the crazy thing is like I know how to do all these things, but if I don't pay someone to hold me accountable and really walk me through it, I won't do it. So
Coaches need coaches.
yeah, so working through that with him it's been nice in the sense of that is challenging me to really stop abusing stimulants like caffeine, energy drinks. I mean, just throw it out there. I got really bad with nicotine zins for a little bit. Finally, kind of weaned myself off of those. So now it's like getting rid of all the stimulants that now that I can kind of see clearly, it's like, okay, these are the issues that I'm dealing with. How do I fix them? Instead of just like covering them with the band-aid and then having to deal with it later. So that has been a big challenge because it's required me to completely change my diet, which has been nice. It's been nice in a way because not as inflamed and it can actually operate like a regular human. Um, but outside of that, challenging myself in the sense of work, making a lot of cold calls. That's never fun, but it has to be done because if not, don't get paid. You don't get paid, you don't eat. That's
Yeah.
not fun either. So that's been a big challenge. I do think personally I've been challenging myself as well. Um, how do I explain this, man? I'm a pretty open book. But like with women, like going on dates. Haven't been doing it as much recently just because have some certain things in line that I want to get through the finish line and then I can get back to that. But challenging myself in that way too, because I definitely am pretty introverted.
Mm-hmm.
I could just sit all day by myself and not care. But after a while, that kind of gets old.
Yeah.
So challenging myself in that way.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's awesome. And I don't mean you don't have to worry about sharing any of that stuff. I mean, it's cool and it's stuff that's going on in your life. I mean, you and I talk about it all the time. It's it's just putting your, it's no different than anything else. It's no different than if
Mhm.
you took up running or, changed over to CrossFit, God forbid, or something, something crazy like
My
that. It's
body
just,
would break.
yeah, it's just putting you in uncomfortable situations, which we always grow from.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, comfort is a slow death, so I want to make myself as uncomfortable as possible.
Mhm.
It's also like, what else are we gonna do?
Mhm.
Just sit here and hold hands? It's like I'd get old after a while.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's also that, I don't know if you listen to Huberman much. I don't as much as I probably should, but he talks about that portion of your brain called the AMCC.
No idea what that is.
It's,
Reminds me of the movie theater AMC.
yeah, anterior mid-cingulate cortex, I think is what it's called. And it's basically the portion, it was recently discovered, like relatively recently within the last, I think, decade. But it's this little tiny portion of your brain that kind of lights up, and it's like a muscle almost. It
Hmm.
lights up and grows when you put yourself in uncomfortable situations that are beneficial to you. So, like doing a cold plunge when you really didn't want to do a cold plunge, or
Hmm.
getting in the sauna when you really didn't want to do the sauna, or finishing a workout when you didn't want to work out today. Those things grow your AMCC.
Hmm.
Um, Not doing anything like that, not subjecting yourself to uncomfortable situations, not, when you get to that crossroads of I'm going to do it and finish it and keep the promises I make to myself or not, when you make the opposite decisions, it shrinks it, right? So, one crazy thing that they found is that that portion of your brain is actually very highly linked to the will to live because it's the will to do hard things, it's the
Right.
will to live, right? So people that have massive AMCCs, some of these marathon runners and extreme endurance athletes, they'll live forever because their brain has this massive muscle that's saying, like, we can accomplish anything that we set our mind to. And people that have small AMCCs, a relatively not severe illness or ailment or whatever, will just take them right out.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that kind of stems back to like people that struggle with depression, anxiety. It's like, yeah, we all have certain reasons why we struggle, but oftentimes it just comes through not doing hard things
Hmm.
and not having trust and belief in ourselves. Um, so all that stuff is super interesting, man. So we got a bunch of small brains,
Hmm.
people running around.
Yeah, yeah.
Speaking of endurance, the BPN Ultra, that was sick.
Oh my God.
Dude, I've never been so tuned into something in my life for no reason. I was like, oh, this is going on. And then I started to keep up. And, once I kind of got to like the final two guys and I figured out who they were looking at their pages, and one of the guys was like, death the weights and I can't effing wait. I was like,
That
oh,
fired me up.
I was like, this is legit. I was
I almost
like,
booked an ultra that night, dude. I was like,
yeah, I didn't go that far,
yeah.
but it was just super exciting to watch. But even going back to what you were talking about, like the human brain, it's like those two guys were fully committed to like pretty much dying to not lose, and they ended up tying because of the weather. But it just goes to show like when you're truly in tune with doing hard things, like the mind will do some crazy things with it too. Because running 200 plus miles, like that is insane.
Yeah, the body just becomes a vessel at a certain point if your
Yeah,
mind's strong enough.
absolutely. And
It's like, no, you're gonna do what I tell you to do, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like one of the guys ended up in the hospital for a while after that because he got rhabdo.
it's insane, man.
Yeah. But if you don't know what we're talking about, the company Bear Sports Nutrition, BPN Nutrition,
Mhm.
or supplements rather, they it's the same thing that if you've listened to the podcast that I interviewed my friend Tucker after last year, and then I paced him at. This year, instead of doing just a 50-mile ultra, they did what's called a last man standing or a backyard ultra marathon. And what that is every hour on the hour, the athletes competing run 4.2 miles. If you don't finish your 4.2 miles within the hour, you are disqualified. If you do finish and however long you have until the next hour is your rest time. So if you finish with 1 minute to spare, you get 1 minute to rest. If you finish with 10 seconds to spare, you get 10 seconds to rest. If you finish with 20 minutes, you get 20 minutes to sit
Mhm.
down, refuel, do whatever, go to the bathroom. Um, and so the record, I think, was like 390 something miles.
Dude, that's insane.
Which basically they ran for like 6 days straight or
Yeah.
something like that. Um, but at the BPN ultra marathon, I can't remember how many athletes, 100 or 200 people like ran in it, and I think 8 or 9 people made it past the 100-mile mark, which basically means they ran for, what is that, a day straight,
Hmm.
and then everyone else except for these two guys, everyone else except for these two guys, basically made it to 120 ish,
Hmm.
and that from like 120 miles on, it was just these two dudes, Kim something and Kendall something. I don't remember their names, but absolute animals. These guys proceed to run from 120 miles or wherever the kind of handoff point was. They ran like 115 or 120 miles solo, dueling each other. So every hour on the hour, it's these two dudes alone lining up, running 4.2 miles. There was multiple times where one of them finished in under a minute, under 2 minutes to spare, and then you just get back on the line and you just go for 4.2 more miles.
Insane, man. A testament to the human mind.
3 days straight of running
Yeah.
4.2 miles every hour on the hour.
It's weird. I woke up and I was like, "Oh, the race is still going." I checked. I was like, "That's a pretty weird how invested I am into this," and I just knew about it this weekend.
The only reason that they stopped was because a severe thunderstorm hit, and I mean they showed video and stuff. It was a severe thunderstorm.
Yeah,
It was pretty
tents were
crazy.
flying. I was like,
Um,
"That does not look safe."
yeah, and yeah, I mean just absurd conquering of the human mind and spirit, and yeah, one of the guys ended up in the hospital from rhabdo, which basically is like when too much lactic acid is flooded into your bloodstream and your kidneys can't process it, so your body starts to shut down. Is what happens. Um, and the other one, actually, I think he went for a jog the next day. The German guy.
He's different, man.
Yeah,
I would have just laid in bed,
yeah,
not done the thing for probably a week. But I mean, that's them. That's what they do. They're runners.
yeah. It's you see stuff like that and you're just like, okay, us talking about challenging ourselves, but like me getting in the gym a few more times a week, or you with gut issues or what,
Yeah.
whatever. Like our challenges don't seem so big whenever you
No,
think
man.
people are voluntarily subjecting themselves to that.
No. Nothing is never as bad as you think it is. It's just all in your head.
Hmm.
But running 200 plus miles is that's pretty tough. Shout out to them.
Yeah, shout out to those guys. Tucker's got 2 ultras on the books.
When?
He's I think 6 months as of yesterday. So I was on the phone with him whenever you pulled up. As of yesterday, I think he's like 24 weeks out, so 6 months out from 100K ultra, and then I think he booked 100 miler or something like that for next year sometime.
Yeah, Tucker turned into David Goggins.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
I know he's a
Shout out to him,
freaking
man.
unit.
Stay
I'm
hard.
so proud of him.
How much is 100K?
I don't know.
I
I
don't
don't
know the
really know
mileage on the
how much.
100K.
Let's just ask ChatGPT.
You
Let's practice
see,
what we preach and
let's
use.
use AI here. That's what I would have used ChatGPT for.
How much is 100 kilometers in miles?
100 kilometers is about 62.14 miles.
That's tough.
Yeah, that is tough.
Next up's at 100 mile for him.
Yeah,
At that point, you're 60 plus miles in. I'm going to my feet fall off to hit 100.
yeah.
Yeah.
He was saying at the ultra whenever I paced him those last 10 miles, he could have kept going. Um, he said he felt like he could have.
Well, I feel like your body hits that point of like no return, so it's just full send.
Mhm.
It's like at this point, how much worse it is actually going to get, unless you do get rhabdo,
Yeah,
and like that's not
then
good
it's
at all.
worse. Yeah.
Yeah, you could easily die, and you don't want to do that.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, man. Oh my gosh. I
you
don't
should
even
do one
know.
of those.
I want to. I
Uh,
do actually want to.
I would love to. My knees and ankles are completely shot.
That's my problem right now. Is I got to get my knees in better shape because this one doesn't have any cartilage left in it.
Oh, same. We're twins.
So I got to figure out if I have if I need to have like a knee replacement at 26.
Oh, bro, we're twins, man. How crazy is that? Tore my right meniscus a few weeks ago.
Yep.
Bone on
27.
bone. 27. What a time to be alive, man. Broken knees.
The problem is if we have a knee replacement now, then they only last 25 years. So you're gonna have to
I
get
get it.
another one at 50 something and another one at 70 something.
Yeah, let's not do that. I'm not signing up for that. That sounds terrible, man. I'll just ride it out, or I just won't run.
Or walk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
easy solution.
No more cardio. Yeah.
Got the elliptical.
Yeah, but I really did enjoy whenever I got into running last year, and I was prepping for the Dallas Marathon. And as my mileage got up, I just started to get like IT band syndrome, and then I started working on that, working on my glutes, trying to get that fixed up, and then I got piriformis syndrome, which is like the back of your hip and your piriformis that wraps around your
Mhm.
glute, and it's like I don't
Sounds like
even
you're
know. I
all
think
messed up.
I think all my stabilizer muscles are just so weak from not being able to do much leg wise for so long. I've got to figure out just creative ways to work on those for a while before I get into ramping up any type of mileage running wise.
Tell you what I did. I did the Murph, not this year, but last year, and hadn't ran 2 miles in years. People don't know what the Murph is. It's a Memorial Day workout to honor um, people that have passed in duty. Specifically, one member, I don't remember his exact name, so my apologies, but it's a mile run, 100 pull ups, 200 push ups, 300 air squats, a mile run. I haven't ran 2 miles in 4 years, and I was like, I'm gonna run 2 miles today. Completely annihilated my left ankle to the point where it still hurts, and I got an MRI about 2 months ago, and it's just because I'm flat-footed, which isn't good. I ran in terrible shoes, and my ligaments are just pulling down a little bit too far, so I'm constantly swollen and inflamed in my left ankle, and it's like, man, I was like, that's what I get for running.
Yeah,
I was like, I should have worked my way up, but I was like, I'll be all right. Full send it, and not a good idea.
yeah, yeah. I got a big head because I ran those 10 miles with him on those trails, and
You
I
were
was
like,
like,
oh,
if I could do that, I
I'm
could.
hybrid.
Yeah, I'm a freaking athlete, baby. And it just didn't
Didn't pan
it
out
caught
the way
up to
it
me.
needs
Yeah,
to.
whenever I started, it was right whenever I got over the hump of running like 15 plus miles a week. It was everything went downhill. Below that, I felt great, dude. I felt
Yeah.
so good.
Running's fun.
Yeah. And I really do enjoy like whenever you hit that point where you're like, I really want to stop this, and I love being on the edge of that.
Yeah. Runner's high is a real thing.
Mhm.
But if your body can't handle it, man, it is brutal for the joints.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I know you got to get out of here, dude. Appreciate your time. I just wanted to capitalize on us being in person.
Absolutely, man. Glad I got to come on.
Yeah.
It was a great time. Smoke some stogies later.
Yeah. I'm excited.
Cry over the thunder again, and have a great time.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, buddy.
Absolutely, man.
Cool.
The end.
Great stuff.